They had no scholarship quarterbacks available. A walk-on, Blake Boast, was not available, and this is from the Houston Chronicle. Anaya Smith could have tried running an option, but he has an injured foot. So, and they said that they were only down to 38 scholarship players and 13 scholarship players on defense. Now, there are also a lot of people on Twitter who were, and I'm not saying this is the case, but they're accusing A&M of not wanting to play and get a fifth loss that might hurt their recruiting. So, but with all that aside, back to your point for the semifinals, I think they do everything everything possible in order to get these games in. And Shane, my point with this too, and this needs to be said, these schools, Florida included, have got tremendous medical people, trainers, doctors, etc. To me, what you do here is you let these people do their job. I mean, most of these campuses have got a virtual hospital on campus that takes care of their athletes. They've done a good job of this throughout the year. My thing is, in these situations, I'm sure they're going to have to take a close eye on them. They're going to have to keep them safe, in the whole 9 yards. But I still think they've got plenty of time, and if they time this out with the medical people, that they can get through this, because they've proven they did it last year and they've done it this year.
Yeah, and again, like I said, I don't get involved in all this stuff, but I still cannot understand how your entire team can be vaccinated. You get kids test positive, right, but they have no symptoms and they're not allowed to play. I don't understand
Agreed.
that. I do not understand it one bit.
That.
And it's the same way with the National Football League. The Players Association needs to step in immediately. Now, I don't know if they can, and they need to change the protocol, because it right, doesn't make sense.
No.
Let's talk a couple of the big bowl games. Obviously, this would have been big, but they got both teams don't have a coach. Oklahoma and Oregon are playing in the Alamo Bowl, believe it or not. You know, these are two teams that thought they'd be playing in the playoffs, but they're in the Alamo Bowl in San Antonio. Good matchup, but you know, who knows how it's going to turn out.
Well, you've got guys out like Kayvon Thibodeau, who is maybe the best defensive player anywhere, and I mean Caleb Williams, who may end up winning the Heisman before he leaves. You've got, as you mentioned, you've got coaches gone. I mean, on paper, it looks good. But I'm with you. It's just because of so few guys and the coaches leaving. And again, there's only so much control you've got over this. But it's amazing they go with all these trouble to get these bowls and get to a bowl game, and then you've got half a staff there.
Yes, Michigan State is playing Pitt in the Peach Bowl, which, you know, looked like a good game, but obviously Cody Pickett and Kenny Walker are both Kenny Pickett and Kenneth Walker are both sitting it out. Speaking of Pitt, they pick up a transfer quarterback also out of the portal.
By the way, let me go through some of this, and this was a little bit of a surprise, but Kendon Slovis from Southern Cal has landed at Pitt. Now, listen, this kid is really talented. I'm curious what you think about him. As a matter of fact, he has started a couple of times against Notre Dame. A lot of people thought Slovis would go somewhere else, but that's where he has landed. They did a really good job with Kenny Pickett during that time too. So, although I was a little surprised, it's a big pick up for Pitt because this kid is a very capable quarterback.
There's no question. Slovis is a good thrower. I don't know how he's going to pan out. Look at JT Daniels. He was a good thrower that came out of SC as well. You just don't know. Some of these guys look great, coming out of high school and play a little bit, but the more they play, the worse they get. So we'll see. Brent, we got a kind of a repeat question here because we were having some audio issues. But John asked on Facebook Live, brought to you by Mellon Law. Ask Brent what he thinks about the new CFP policy on COVID and forfeits. We could possibly see Cincinnati crown the champion. We might respect the AP champion we might respect the AP champion more than the CFP champion if this happens.
Well, there's probably a lot of truth to that. I really hope that this doesn't get to that point. I mean, they've got the protocol, but again, to me, the big mistake they're making with the semis is they're not having any flexibility in order to delay the game for a day or two, which may make a big difference. And again, I'm hoping that we don't go through this. As a matter of fact, Michigan also got the team decided that they wanted to get booster shots, so they've all done that. So, and look, as Shane and I were talking a few minutes ago, there is no evidence so far that football players can get COVID by playing someone on the field. So, look, at some point, to me, the bottom line here is you've got a great medical staff at all these schools. Just trust your people that you've worked with last year and this year, and just get on with it. So I'm hoping all these things will, but by no stretch of the imagination, that they have to deal with this.
Yeah. Back to the bowl games, a good one out, the Fiesta Bowl. I mean, these two teams were close to being in the 14 playoff. Oklahoma State playing Notre Dame should be an entertaining game.
Yeah, I don't think there's any doubt about that. And by the way, I don't know if you've seen this or not, but Mike Gundy has had his contract restructured, so he's in good shape at this point too. So look, this may be one of the better bowls all the way around. With that too, the Notre Dame now going to be struggling without Kyle Hamilton, Cameron Williams. This Oklahoma State defense is one of the better ones around at this point. So that I think is going to be probably that may be a much better game than the Oklahoma-Oregon game in the Alamo Bowl that we talked about a few minutes ago.
Yeah, Ohio State is going probably very disappointed that they're headed to the Rose Bowl, but Utah's got to be excited. I believe it's the first time the Utah Utes have ever played in the Rose Bowl.
It is, and Kyle Willingham is a tremendous player. And look, we need to mention this because Florida begins the year next year against Utah. And Shane, I know you watched them play. Listen, Utah is an SEC team. They're very, very physical, and they proved that against Oregon just a few weeks ago. Ohio State really better be ready to play because I can tell you Utah's mindset is they're going in to play the Rose Bowl because they have never been there. Listen, I know Ohio State's probably got better football players, but people are going to be surprised how good that Utah is. Will be very interesting to see how C.J. Stroud does against them. This can be a good game, but Gator fans watch Utah very closely.
Yep, turn your car or truck into a rolling billboard for your business or brand with an eye-catching vehicle wrap from Wrap Spot. This December, mention promo code Shane, receive 13% off your vehicle wrap. Speaking of Brent Beaird here on the Titan More Hotline, got a bunch of Facebook Lives here brought to you by Mellon Law. John says, y'all might have already covered this, but Bill O'Brien and Doug Marrone both tested positive for COVID. How worried should Bama be about COVID running through their team? I'll tell you this right now.
Well,
I'll tell you this. ain't a damn thing going to keep the Alabama Crimson Tide from playing the game.
No,
I can promise you that.
Now they may be by themselves on the field, but yes, nothing's going to keep that from happening. Now, again, the quote from Nick Saban: "They have very mild symptoms and at home isolating while following all the appropriate guidelines." So, and this was from Wednesday, and if you're going by your 10-day protocol, they will be fine and they'll be ready to go. So Shane is right with that.
Yeah, Jeff says here, the interviews with the Gator players and coaches sure seem to show that the team is motivated and will play with effort tonight. I'm going to lay the 7 after listening to those guys. They've always said the right thing and before every game, and they're having a great effort. Yeah. So I don't know, man. We'll get to that game here in a minute, but it's I'm a little concerned, no question about it.
Yes.
If people missed it, Dylan Gabriel, the old UCF quarterback, has now committed to UCLA with Chip Kelly. What do you think about that transfer?
That's interesting. I wasn't sure where he was going. He's a very capable quarterback and probably should do well with Chip Kelly. And obviously, he and Gus Malzahn did not see eye to eye, and Gabriel got hurt, my understanding, on kind of a trick play earlier in the year that left him out for most of the season. So he obviously is wanting a fresh start. So that will be kind of fascinating to see how that works out.
Yeah, I'm anxious to see. I think he's a really good quarterback, and we've seen guys go from the smaller FCS or Group of 5 to Power 5s and do well. I'm anxious to see how he translates to big boy football.
I agree.
It's hard. You look at what McKenzie Milton, and that's not a fair assessment because he came off a brutal leg injury, but he was almost like a fish out of water playing in ACC football. Yes. And so we'll see. But good for UCLA. Brent, I thought this was an interesting thing you sent me. The 3 teams that are out of bowls in the past 5 seasons, 63 of the 66 Power 5 programs have made a bowl game. The 3 programs that have not, Kansas, Rutgers, and the Nebraska Cornhuskers.
Yes, you would think that Nebraska would have made it under Scott Frost, but unfortunately, that has been such a struggle. Now he's coming back, and people missed that a few weeks ago. They decided that that's what they wanted to do. I think some of that was a money issue, although that's hard to believe they'd have too much of a money issue with that. As proud of a program as that is. The other team here that you mentioned is Rutgers. Now, Rutgers is one of the teams that's trying to get into the Gator Bowl to replace Texas A&M. And that would be, they haven't been to a bowl in a while. They would love to be in a bowl. Illinois is another one that is a real possibility. Shad Khan, the owner of the Jaguars, has a lot of Illinois ties. Matter of fact, he's an alum. So that's another reason. So maybe, I'm not saying this is going to happen, but kind of the pecking order for what we saw last night, and again, that this changes by the hour, is Rutgers may be the team that's kind of leading off, and if that doesn't happen, it may be Illinois.
Yeah, Chris says here on Facebook Live, I thought that the NCAA doesn't allow COVID-positive coaches to be on the field or even remotely close. No, where I guess he's referring to us talking about the Alabama coaches. They tested positive like last week, so their 10-day deal will be running out soon. They're doing all their stuff via Zoom. Right. Joseph says Dylan Gabriel transferred to be closer to home. Yeah, he's from Hawaii. Michael says, I think if you have enough players, including walk-ons, you should play and give those kids a chance to play and be the highlight of their college career. I agree 100%. The problem you have is, and what we think A&M being down so many players, and I still can't understand why they wouldn't play this game. But as you said, they weren't sure the quarterback was going to be to play. X amount of scholarship guys, and Jimbo losing 5 games in 1 year. But go play, and it ticks me off. So it is what it is. Brent, who do you think's going to win the Coach of the Year?
There's so many good candidates for that. I mean, Luke Fickell may get that with the job that they have done at Cincinnati. That's a real possibility. Bobby Dodd finalist, Dave Aranda, Dave Clawson, Luke Fickell, Jim Harbaugh, and also Pat Narduzzi at Pitt. I'm going to say either probably Fickell or Harbaugh will win this. Just a guess, but boy, they've all done a good job in that list, haven't they, Shane?
They really have. Brent, let's move to the SEC. Obviously, we talked briefly about Alabama getting ready for Cincinnati. I'm one of these guys, and maybe I'm just absolutely crazy, but I just don't see how Cincinnati can compete with Alabama if Alabama walks in there and plays their game. John Mechie being out will definitely hurt them. But your early thoughts on the Alabama-Cincinnati matchup?
Well, I think a lot of this is going to be the mindset that Alabama brings in this game. I can tell you this. If Bama had played Cincinnati the week after, 7 days after the SEC championship game, I think Cincinnati would have won because this is still the team we saw in the SEC championship game was a team that really had put it all together. The offensive line played almost with an out-of-body experience compared to what they played during the year. Obviously, we know how good Bryce Young is. They still weren't able to run the ball much, but Brian Robinson played well, and they're so their depth is gone at running back, and that's a real issue. Alabama's defense is slowly being playing better. Will Anderson's so hard to block, and they put more pressure on the quarterback. Here's what's a little bit different about this game. And again, we have to think back. It wasn't that long ago when, and I know people can say Georgia didn't care, but I mean, Georgia kicked a field goal late in the game, a 50-plus yard field goal to beat Cincinnati in the bowl game. So Cincinnati can play. I mean, Ritter is really good. Jerome Ford, the former Alabama running back, I'm sure will be motivated. To me, the key situation here is Cincinnati has got in their secondary, they've got some kids who are going to play in the NFL. I mean, that they are that good, and they've got like 3 of them. So my question is going to be can Alabama find enough wide receivers to offset some of that? And to me, that's the key matchup that you need to look at. Here's another fascinating part about this game is Cincinnati this year has attempted 17 field goals, and they've missed 10 of them. Oh. So that's a lot, isn't it, Shane? Yeah. So they've left a lot. They've left a lot of points on the table this year, and that's something to kind of keep in mind as that game goes along. Now, another couple of things for Alabama, non playoff related, which is important. Ty Simpson, their 5-star quarterback, has actually been able to practice with them this week, which is interesting. But the 2 main things that have happened to me are the 2 guys that they have picked up so far in this situation. By the way, their offensive lineman, Pierce Quick, is going to Georgia Tech. But the funny thing about it is the Georgia Tech running back, Jahmyr Gibbs, who ran for 750 yards, is transferring to Alabama. That is he and Eli Ricks from LSU. Nick Saban doesn't do much in the transfer portal, but those were 2 huge pickups.
They really were. Auburn is playing in the Birmingham Bowl against Houston, and I guess Brian Harson's taken over calling plays and things of that nature. What do you think about this Auburn game against Houston? I feel like Houston's got more to play for.
I think Houston has more to play for, and Houston has. They've just got a better offense by far than what Auburn has got. Auburn will not have Bo Nix. They will not have Mike Bobo. They will not have their starting right tackle, Brodius Ham. Sean Shivers will not be playing. He's in the transfer portal. Their best cornerback, Roger McCrary, will not play because of the NFL. And Jacoby McClain, their top linebacker, will not play either. So Auburn is really hamstrung in this game. Houston is really good. Dana Holgorsen has done a tremendous job with them. Houston's defense is the best in the nation on third down, and they have been really impressive so far. So obviously we were wondering where Bo Nix is going. He's going to Oregon. Auburn's also hired Austin Davis from the NFL. We mentioned this last week. That might happen. Now, Houston will not have Marcus Jones, their All-American cornerback and kick returner, so that's going to hurt them. The game's in Birmingham. It would be an Auburn crowd, but here's the difficult thing about this, Shane. Auburn's lost 4 games in a row. If Auburn loses this game, can you imagine ending a season with 5 losses?
No. Gators lost, 4 straight last year, and it was not fun.
No.
John wants to know here on Facebook Live, brought to you by Mental Law, is the Gibbs not, he's not eligible to play against Cincinnati, right? The running back from Georgia Tech. I think I asked you this question the other day.
Yeah, no, he's not. It's a good question, but no, he can't. And I think a lot of that is, Shane, again, and it'd be, matter of fact, it actually would be interesting to have someone from Florida in compliance explain this, but you've got to be, and I think that Ty Simpson is, but the thing we don't know is the Gibbs kid, is he enrolled in school? You've got to be enrolled, and your clock's going to be running with the progress toward the degree. And Alabama had finals 2 weeks ago, and they won't start school again until probably like everybody else does, first week or 2 of January. So I'm going to say no, but because of the situation with enrollment.
Yeah. John says he heard Gunnar Stockton is on the Georgia's Orange Bowl roster. Yeah. If you're an early signee, you're allowed to go practice and go to the bowl games and all that stuff. So
right. Correct.
Before we let you go, time has flown by, but let's talk a little bit about this Gator game in the Gasparilla Bowl against UCF. There's a lot of talk. Well, obviously Emory Jones, last game as a Gator, playing in the game, name in the transfer portal, very strange. But a lot of people think he may end up at UCF. What are you hearing?
Well, possibly. Look, even Emory said that he just wants to get somewhere where he can take advantage of his talents. And a lot of this the dust will settle on this as it goes along. I think this game is basically a sellout, which I think is pretty exciting. To me, the real reality here, and you mentioned this before, is how motivated is Florida going to be to play. They've said all the right things here, and again, there's questions a lot about Gabriel is gone. Now he threw for 814 yards. Ryan O'Keefe has played a little bit. Isaiah Bowser at running back, they like. Brandon Johnson and Jalen Robinson at wide receiver. Again, this is a Gus Malzahn offense too. So we'll see where that goes. Mickey King is a kid that they've looked at quarterback too. So it would be interesting to see that they kind of got on a good roll in the end of the year for UCF with that. But to me, here's a key stat of the game. Central Florida is 0-4 when they allow 190 yards rushing or more, and Florida averages 209. So, Shane, that may be a key for tonight, obviously, is the rushing yards for Florida.
Well, I think the entire Gator Nation, including myself, loves Dameon Pierce, and he has not touched the football enough in his career.
Right.
And
Correct.
I would love to see him get 25, 30 carries tonight.
Yes.
And in his career doing that. Brent, before we let you go, any nuggets for us?
Well, there are a bunch of them. Michigan's won the Joe Moore Award, by the way. That's for the best offensive line. Now, J.T. Daniels, as people probably know, is tested positive, the Georgia quarterback. But the thing about it is, as Shane and I have said the whole show, they've got time in order to get him back. But I mean, Stetson Bennett, I think, still going to be the guy. Not much has been said about this, but in Kentucky's game against Iowa, which I think they will win, a couple of receivers are going to be out. Josh Ali and Isaiah Epps are going to miss the game. They were in a car accident, and they're going to be okay. But my understanding is that, according to the offensive coordinator, they won't be playing. LSU and Kansas State. Damone Clark, the LSU linebacker, is opted out for the game. People may have missed this, but Miles Brennan, the LSU quarterback, who everybody thought was going to start at one point, is actually coming back. He was in the transfer portal, but he's decided he's going to stay. So I thought that was rather significant with that, too. So keep that in mind. Unfortunately for Mississippi State, after Mike Leach went over now this is not a transfer portal thing, but this is an NFL thing. Left tackle Charles Cross is going. He's not going to play in the bowl game. He's going to the NFL. Big time player. It's a shame he won't play in the bowl. And Mississippi State also got Marcus Banks, former Alabama cornerback, to come there. So that's interesting. Tough loss that people didn't hear from Missouri. They lost to Army last night on a last-second field goal. Missouri goes the length of the field and scores under quarterback Brady Cook, who did a good job, frankly. But that was a very good game. Hopefully we'll get more games like that. I've got more stuff, and I know we're limited on time at this point, too. So hope folks have a great Christmas and enjoy themselves. And by the way, I see a note here on Max Johnson. The LSU quarterback has landed at Texas A&M, where his brother went. Shane, we talked about this last week. Then he may go where his brother Jake, who's maybe the number one tight end, ends up, and that's what happened.
Yep, that is no doubt. And speaking of, we got one Facebook Live here before we let you go. John says, what a terrible and tragic situation that happened with Robbie Roper. My heart goes out to the family. Yes. Does UF reach out to the family since they were in heavy contact with him? I don't know. I mean, they were going to offer him, it looks like. I know Billy Napier liked the kid a lot. It's hard to believe what happened to him, man.
It is. It really is.
It's terrible.
There's a lot that we don't know, but you go in for a routine situation, something goes wrong, and our prayers go to that family right now, to that high school for that devastating loss.
Yeah, no question about it. Brent, great stuff as always. Merry Christmas to you and your family, and we will talk to you next week, my man.
Can't wait, bud. Take care.
That's Brent Beaird, our college football analyst and Heisman Trophy voter. Join us on the Titan MR hotline. Going to take our first time out. Come back. Get your text and your Facebook Live messages. You're watching and listening. Potto Matthews in the morning.
We want to take this moment to thank all our sponsors who keep the show going and pay the bills. Crime Prevention Security Systems, large enough to serve you, small enough to care. Titan MRI, Gainesville's only locally owned and operated MRI facility. Meldon Law, won't back down. Peachland Dental, Gator Nation's first choice for dentistry in Port Charlotte. Comfort Temp, comfort is our business, peace of mind is our promise. QC Kinetics, live pain-free with QC Kinetics. Great Clips, it's gonna be great. Our Gridiron sponsors are Auto ER, UF Bookstores, Celebration Point Town Center, South State Bank, Chris Doring Mortgage, Silverback Concrete Co. Some of our touchdown sponsors are Campus USA Credit Union, Adams Rib Company, Doreen Wiebe Realtor, Caldwell Banker, MM Parish, Gator Dominoes, Celebrate Primary Care, Gator Bait Media, Wrap Spot, Okito America, Gators Dockside, Style Cuts, Big Mills Cheesesteaks. If you are interested in promoting your business on the show, visit potupwithshane.com and click the advertise button. Again, thank you to all the great businesses that support the show. If you like what we are doing here, make sure you follow us and support the businesses that support us.
Welcome back to the Crime Prevention Security System Studios, large enough to serve you, small enough to care. Celebration Point is where the Gators go to celebrate with premium brands like Nike, Regal Cinemas, Le Macaron, Dave & Buster's, Medici's, Palmetto Moon, and the HBC's restaurant, Spurrier's Gridiron Grill, now serving brunch on Saturdays and Sundays. We'll see you at Celebration Point, where the Gators go to celebrate. If you missed it again, Gators beat Stony Brook yesterday in basketball. They moved to 9-3. And Gators tonight against the UCF Knights in the Gasparilla Bowl. Joseph asked here on Facebook Live, brought to you by Meldon Law, I wonder who the Gators' second QB target will now be after the terrible news concerning the Roper kid. Not sure. Not sure if they look into the portal, or I would think they'd try to get a high school kid. So we'll see. It's just it's devastating. It's hard to believe, heartbreaking. Just hard to believe. I don't know. I mean, it's just going for a routine cleanup surgery, and that happens, and it's just awful. Eric says, who do you think will replace A&M in the Gator Bowl? Word is Rutgers or Illinois, one of those two teams. They got to hurry up, and I guess that game is next Friday. They probably haven't been practicing. They could throw something together and go play. I'm very disappointed Texas A&M is pulling out. As Brent said, probably a lot of things factor in. They weren't sure who their quarterback was going to be in this game. Jimbo was concerned of losing his fifth or sixth game. I don't know when so anyway, I think the SEC is going to miss out on that money as well. Not that the SEC needs more money, but every little bit helps, and it's divided among all the institutions. So we'll see. Thought I had a text on the Titan Mark text line. Let's see what it says here. It's from Gary. Gary just letting us know that the volume has been fixed. We appreciate you listening. Sorry about the early technical difficulties, but Facebook, YouTube, sometimes those things happen. Want to get your thoughts on what you think is going to happen tonight against UCF and the Gators, 7:00 kickoff. Should be interesting. I tell you, it's one of the weirdest situations, bowl games I've ever seen, with not one coach being retained, coaching in their final game against Gators. You got a quarterback who has already announced he's going to be in the transfer portal, playing in the game. Very strange. Very, very strange. All right, so let's get to some Facebook Lives here. John says, my dad was a general surgeon. His biggest fear whenever he had surgery on himself was anesthesia. He told me it was a crapshoot whether you react well to it. Yeah, apparently that's what there was an allergic reaction to it. So we shall probably hear more about it. But yeah, it's always a scary situation. Joseph asks, I wonder how good Carlos Del Rio Wilson is. He was a 4-star QB, true freshman this year. He has pretty good film from high school. Wonder if he has a chance to contribute. Possibly. It's hard to. You never know. I mean, guys look good when they go to these Elite 11 camps and combines, and they have good high school film, and you just never know how they're going to translate to the next level because there's so much more. In high school, you can get away with so much, and once you get to the collegiate level, it's a different ball game. And again, we talked about it yesterday or Tuesday with Buddy. The three things that you really have to be a successful quarterback, in my opinion: decision-making, accuracy, and anticipation kind of combined together. And then you got to have toughness. And those are the three most important things, in my opinion, when it comes to playing quarterback. And, a lot of times kids, and you don't have to, you got to make good decisions in high school, but the passing lanes and being better athletes, or you being a better team than the opponent, can allow you to have big numbers. But yeah, Carlo Del Rio Wilson could be a guy that Billy Napier likes. I don't know. He probably doesn't know much about him. Probably watch some high school tape on him, and we'll let him compete in the spring and see. So, we'll see. Andy asked, will Billy Napier be on the sidelines tonight or in the booth with you and Mick? He won't be with me and Mick, I'm sure. Although he might. Maybe they'll have him come on and talk during the game. I don't know. But I would guess he'd be in the box with Scott Strickland and the higher-ups of the UAA. I don't think you'll see him on the sidelines. John says, this game is scary for all – whoops, it went away. Let me get it here. This game is scary for all the reasons that have been mentioned. I just think UCF cares more than we do. We got too many players, coaches with one foot out the door. Yeah, it's not a great matchup. Like I said, I wish we were playing Marshall or North Texas or Southern Miss or anybody but UCF. So it's not a good matchup. We shall see. John says on Facebook Live, brought to you by Metal Law. Shane, when you played for Spurrier, it appeared many of your passes were timing based when you threw to a spot and the receiver would get there at the correct time. Do any team still run this type of offense, or do QBs now wait to see the receivers open? Alabama has, in my opinion, the best vertical passing game in the business. They throw on time. They anticipate, or Bryce Young anticipates. Mac Jones did it last year. They're about as close to a Steve Spurrier vertical passing team in modern college football. So that's a good question. Yeah, that's the spot and timing is more of the definition of anticipation. It really wasn't a spot. We were anticipating where that guy's supposed to be, and that's throwing guys open. Joseph says, I'm worried about tonight, but I could also see the guys showing up to play for Coach Knox and the rest of the coaches they won't have anymore. Yeah, possibly. We'll see. We should know after the first couple of series who wants to play and who's ready to hang it up. But hopefully they'll come out and play well. Again, people forget, and this is what I've been talking about all year long. Because I had so many people tell me that the team just got tired and quit on Mullen or quit on Grantham. That's BS, because the film is your interview. It's your job interview. The eye in the sky don't lie. And so whatever you put on tape stays with you. And, when Billy Napier and his new staff they're going to watch every game from last year, and they're going to see the effort from those players. And when they sit down player X and say, this is what I saw, this is how I graded you, this is how I evaluated you, where is your effort? That is not going to fly with me. And then either he gives them an opportunity to show what they can do, or he tells them to get in the transfer portal. I don't want you on my program. So it's going to be interesting to see how many people last going into spring football. Because I like everything he's doing, man. He is structured. He's got a plan. Is it going to take time? Yes, but I don't think it's going to take a whole lot of time. Honestly, it just depends on if this Jack Miller is the right guy. It could be Anthony Richardson. We don't know, but I do know they like this Jack Miller, and who knows? People say he could be the next Joe Burrow. We don't know. John says, I felt like Burrow and LSU were close to this. I'm not sure what he means by that. John asked, Shane, do you wish Coach Spurrier had implemented the shotgun when you were the QB? Do you think your stats would have been? Yeah. I begged for the shotgun on a daily basis, but never got it. So they changed that, I guess, after one of the FSU games. Danny got it, so got to do it. And yeah, it definitely helps. It definitely helps for sure. Let's take our final time out of the program, come back, wrap up this Thursday edition. You're watching and listening to Pod Up with Matthews in the Morning.
We want to take this moment to thank all our sponsors who keep the show going and pay the bills. Crime Prevention Security Systems, large enough to serve you, small enough to care. Titan MRI, Gainesville's only locally owned and operated MRI facility. Meldon Law, won't back down. Peachland Dental, Gator Nation's first choice for dentistry in Port Charlotte. Comfort Temp, comfort is our business, peace of mind is our promise. QC Kinetics, live pain-free with QC Kinetics. Great Clips, it's gonna be great. Our Gridiron sponsors are Auto ER, UF Bookstores, Celebration Point Town Center, South State Bank, Chris Doring Mortgage, Silverback Concrete Co. Some of our touchdown sponsors are MB Listing, McDonald's of Gainesville, My IT Masters, Gainesville Neon and Signs, 84 Lumber, Tropical Smoothie Cafe, Avera and Smith, Dowling Signs, Baker's Sporting Goods, Ruse Ogra Agent, State Farm Insurance, Silver Cube Billiards and Sports Bar. If you are interested in promoting your business on the show, visit potupwithshane.com and click the Advertise button. Again, thank you to all the great businesses that support the show. If you like what we are doing here, make sure you follow us and support the businesses that support us.
Welcome back to the Crime Prevention Security System Studios at South State Bank. We understand that small businesses need a community business partner that they can rely on. South State has 4 convenient Alachua County locations. South State Bank, banking for, member FDIC. This day in sports brought to you by our good friends at Comfort Temp. Comfort is our business, peace of mind is our promise. Comfort Temp's now hiring team members of all levels of experience, $1,000 signing bonus. Give Comfort Temp a call, 352-376-2366. This day in sports in 1972, the Immaculate Reception. The Steelers turn a 7-6 defeat with a last-second touchdown reception. Franco Harris against the Raiders to win 13-7. That's brought to you by our good friends at Comfort Temp. A couple of Facebook Lives before we get out of here. Andy asked, could Mick ever be in the Ring of Honor? I'm sure they could figure something out. He'll probably, once he hangs it up, he will definitely be honored in some form or fashion. John says, so Shane, without the shotgun and the spur, when you are doing your drop, where are your eyes looking? It depends on the play, depends on the coverage. A lot of it depends on our eyes and our head position, according to what's going on. Natasha says, recruiting high school QBs is one of the biggest crapshoots there is. There is no doubt. But the transfer portal scares me just a bit because you wonder why they would leave. But all that said, I'm excited about the QB battle coming our way. Very good points. QB position is always a crapshoot. You never know. You never know. Jeff says they have very specific criteria. Wilbur Marshall can't even get in. Wilbur's in the Ring of Honor. I'm pretty sure. So anyway, hope everybody has a Merry Christmas. We will not have we'll have a show, a rerun with Coach Spurrier, some form or fashion of that tomorrow. Enjoy the game tonight. If you're bored, you don't want to listen to the commentators, listen to me and Lee on the Gator Radio Network. Hopefully we call a good game. Mick always does. Hopefully I don't screw it up. But anyway, Merry Christmas to all our listeners. We appreciate you listening to our program. Today's show's a wrap, brought to you by Wrap Spot. See y'all on Monday.